Alright guys, and there we are. There is the story of Dragon's Dogma. And there's the director, Hidetaki Itsuno. There's the credits roll, and there we go guys. That was, the base game at least, for Dragon's Dogma. And, in spite of all the cuts that Capcom had to make in development, it's not a bad game. It's still good and still fun in its own way. All these years later, and with Dogma 2 being about 2 years old now, and come October, the Dark Arisen expansion for Dogma 2 will drop October 9th, so we have all that to look forward to. But yeah, and I guess to give a review for Dogma 1, I suppose I guess the story, being what it is, it's a fairly straightforward story. Dragon attacks, town, chosen hero will rise to stand against it. Dragon takes heart, and hero goes on journey to reclaim heart. 10 out of 10. Would watch again. And yeah, as you journey to Grand Soren, you meet the Duke and get caught up in the political intrigue of Grand Sis Hearthstone with Sir Mercedes and Julian's homeland, with him sowing deceit and deception and treason among the Duke's men, and sort of allying with Salvation and kind of if you talk to enough of the NPCs in Grand Soren, it's like they're of the mind that outside of the castle, they're of the mind that that the dragon simply cannot be bested. Duke Edmund, he's of the opinion that the dragon can't be bested just because he took the dragon's bargain. And but we know that Savin beat the dragon and he became seneschal, so Savin bested his dragon. The Dragon Forged did not best the dragon, and if y'all notice, the three hearts that get returned are the player character's heart, the Dragon Forged, and Edmund Dragonsbane. So yeah, and and as the story went on to go and tell, Duke Edmund, he took the dragon's bargain and he sacrificed his love interest for power. And yeah, and he just believed that the dragon couldn't be bested, and and there's just all the other little subplots, with Salamant and the Worm King's ring, and Salamant kind of trying to call out the Arisen for being scared of facing the dragon. But it's all a matter of perspective of the list of priorities, and we just had to deal with Salamant, with a ring thief at the moment. And then the subplot with Salamand's grimoire and Steven, him wanting the book, an ancient, powerful tome of ancient sorceries written by probably, in as so far as the game cares to tell, one of, quite possibly one of the single best sorcerers in all of Grancis. So yeah, that was a fun quest, and doing Celine's quest and just getting more background lore on the pawns, the nature of pawns and past Arisen, and the bestowal of spirit that a pawn will eventually one day take on the form and the appearance of the Arisen. And with Celine, she eventually takes on the appearance of Gran, who was her Arisen. You see it with the Fool and the Dragon Forge. The Fool looks like basically a younger Dragon Forge, and as we see with Briar and Sage, Sage literally takes on the appearance of Briar. And the only other person who we don't see this with is, we don't see it with Edmund Dragonsbane. We don't see his pawn. And presumably he does have a pawn. But, he probably, just either dismissed them and never returned to a rift stone to summon them back, or we just don't know. But yeah, and the plot with Salvation was pretty cool, and it kind of makes sense if you think about it. A cult of madmen, would rise up and try to worship a seemingly unstoppable evil that is the dragon, and they would worship and herald the destruction and death and chaos that it would bring. And here, since we cleared the cleared game data has been saved. Loading the clear game will allow us to begin in New Game Plus. Any items we obtained in the last playthrough are all safe and sound in our storage. But yeah, see, what else could we talk about, guys? I guess, well, I guess that's really about everything that they've got for us. But yeah, I guess if we were to give it a rating, I guess it'd be a solid. I guess still like either a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I guess. But with that, guys, that is the end of the main game, at least for Dragon's Dogma. And in the next episode, guys, we will begin our journey into Bitterblack Isle. So y'all can look forward to that. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, why don't y'all consider leaving a like and a comment telling me what y'all thought. And if y'all want to stay up to date with this series and any future series we do here on the channel, then why don't y'all subscribe and make sure the notification bell is turned on so you never miss an upload. And I've been your host, Gaming Dragon, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen.